So it's been a while since the last video update, mainly because I'm in a provincial town for 10 days. I think I said that in a previous video. There's also a problem with the bike, so the bike is here, hence the video. Yeah, so I've just stopped on the way. I just walked it to. There's only two bike shops that are coming up on Google in this town. The one I went to looked super authentic, and it seemed like a properly authentic one, like cycle enthusiast sort of, who runs a shop out of his garage and like tons of customers there, super busy, but obviously into like high-end custom bikes and stuff. Not the kind of character that gets like the philosophy of what I'm doing. And he was super busy, and he sounded Israeli as well, which is, if you catch my drift, which is never is a good thing when it comes to price. But yeah, he quoted to repair everything because the cassette has to be replaced. Consequently, the chain has to be replaced. But I have a chain, and by the way, that chain from Amazon free delivery was like £3 to England. That's how much a chain actually costs. That's another thing with the UK and like the US and countries like this. We actually have a lot of things that are way more affordable than in significantly cheaper countries, just because we import so much. Same with food, as I think I've specified before. Food is way less in the UK than any other country in Europe I've travelled through so far, and probably, in my opinion, in the world, relative to income, of course. So yeah, the options are kind of irritating. I went to a bike shop in Sofia, the one I think I spoke about in the previous video, and the guy really knew nothing. He was completely incompetent, tried to sell me a new bike off, properly scam me, because Bulgaria is quite scammy. Like, the first time you start getting scammed on this route is when you hit Serbia, and then of course Bulgaria, and it's probably for sure going to get worse as I continue to Iran at least. Just got a haircut, took the guy 20 minutes, charged me like 10 English pounds, which like the standard price in Bulgaria is like 10 lev, so I got double the price. But yeah, so that's obviously not the price. And the guy that tried to scam me anyway, he went into his inventory and he had everything priced up in there. And even though like I would never go to him because he didn't know anything, and I can't go to him now anyway because of the 1-star review, but he quoted 40 for the cassette, 20 for the new chain, and I think he said 10 for labour, so that's 70, so that's 50% less from what this guy just quoted. And 10 for labour is really fair. That's like £4 English, which is really what it takes to set that up. Like, just to replace the cassette and everything, it should take like 10 minutes maximum, so that is a pretty fair price. It's just the guy had no idea what he was doing. So yeah, I know that it can be done for, so just to do the conversion for you, like 138 is 60 English pounds, right? So 30 quid seems about fair. The thing is, I don't want to add too much to this bike. Everyone keeps saying like, oh, everything is like shit on the bike. It's like, yeah, it is, but I paid 150 for it, and I've cycled it all the way from England, 2,500 kilometres, without only paying €10 so far for a tyre repair. So it's pretty decent when you think about it. All these people that are buying like, you know, £1,000 bikes, well, I can get 5 of these bikes, right, for the same price as a pretty average good bike, about £1,000, right? People have £2,000 bikes, £3,000 bikes, £4,000 bikes, £5,000 bikes, right? I can get 5 bikes for the price of a £1,000 bike, and this bike has already got it to Bulgaria, 2,500 kilometres, priced at 160, 170 quid. So I think that's pretty decent. Actually, I could get 6 bikes, couldn't I? Let's do math correctly. Almost 6 bikes. Yeah. So yeah, it's probably worth just doing another 30 repair. My other option is I have like Amazon credits, so I can just ship stuff from Amazon. It's just a question of how long that will take, and making sure I get the right cassette and stuff, which I think I probably will. So I think I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go and look, get back. I had some really good news today, which I might explain in another video. It's pertaining to my case against Portsmouth University. I actually just won the case with the government, so I will have more funding options for our next programme. The great thing about this is it's more the principle. Like, the amount of hours I actually put in and the amount of stress is unbelievable. I don't know if I've explained it before, but we live in a disgusting world now, as we know, where it's not about, I'm not going to go into a rant, but statutes, all about political stuff. So people are getting put in positions of authority, not because they know what they're doing, but because they're of a certain disposition, let's say, whether that's aesthetically or internally. It's all about like aligning to certain flags and certain skin tones, and then the people will use that naturally to gain themselves leverage and get themselves promoted. They'll always play the special cards, get out of jail free cards. This is exactly what was done. But what was good about this case is I knew eventually it would have to be ruled in my favour, not because it's correct, because that's irrelevant clearly in society now, the fact that it's right, and there's so much evidence to not just support myself and rule in my favour, but these people should have been fired straight off the bat and actually prosecuted and maybe even given some kind of sentence. To be honest, it's straight up racism what they did to me. They literally discriminated against me because I'm white and threw me out of university basically because of my skin colour. Of course they get away with it because I'm white, but if I was black and they were white, yeah, they'd be in jail and fired, of course, and the university would be sued and there'd be fucking barristers lining up ready to litigate against them. But that's another case. I don't know if I've explained that in these bike videos. Probably not. But anyway, so the government just ruled in favour of me. And what that actually means is the university's in a really bad position now because they obviously ruled against me. The IOA ruled against me because they're corrupt as hell. Like, the corruption is unbelievable. And I'm quite an expert when it comes to the IOA. Filed a lot against certain institutions with the IOA. Never one time have they ruled in favour of me. 100% of the time I've been correct and I've had unbelievable evidence to support it. And one time I got a complaint filed against me when I wasn't even in the country, saying I was in a certain place at a certain time and I was on a boat in Stockholm. Submitted the evidence, they ruled against me. That's how corrupt they are. And it's the same with the Ombudsman and all these societies. They're absolutely, completely corrupt. They have absolutely you will have no position with them whatsoever unless you have a legal team. And if you can afford that kind of legal team, you're probably not going to be in that position in the first place. So anyway, what I was saying is, because the government's ruled in favour of me, it now opens the door for complete, total annihilation via litigation against the institution, because I've just been backed by the government, and because it's right, and they don't have a response. The only way they were able to get out of it is because it's a private company. University's a private company. And they always try and offload responsibility onto the fake independent institutions, like fake independent bodies like the OIA or the Ombudsman, or these kinds of societies that are all completely corrupt. It's like gambling authorities. If you ever had a problem with a casino and you go to one of the supposedly independent bodies, they're all scams, and they're not real. It's just a complete farce. It's fictional. But of course, once you get the government involved, and if you win that, which I have, well, then they're completely effed, aren't they? They can't beat the government, because then the reason the government had to back me in the first place is not because they want to, because again, all of these schemes, all of these political narratives are a derivative of those that lobby the government into power in the first place. It's just they couldn't actually not rule against me because it would be completely illegal, because they'd be essentially saying it's okay to racially discriminate against students, it's okay to do this, that. The list is literally endless. Of course they couldn't do that because it goes against their own law, so they had to rule against me because it's lawful. Rule for me, sorry, because it's lawful. So yeah, so I probably will win now. I'll open up a case, get some more kind of legal expertise to rule against Portsmouth University, and I will win 100%. It's just a matter of time. So so yeah, it was a nice surprise this morning. That was good. A couple of other good things as well. Really missing the bike, actually. Really missing kind of getting on it. It makes you really fit. Makes you just it's a nice vibe, which is why I wanted to do it in the first place. And I'm sure most cyclists would agree. But as a practical man, as a logical individual, I need to now calculate the costs, because I could just order another cheap bike essentially. If this bike is gonna, well, the problem is if it keeps breaking, then it's kind of just better to get a new one. But at the same time, what is there to a bike? Like, I've already had the tyres looked at. The only real problem is the back brake, super cheap to repair. The equipment, which I've already been quoted £30 for, but from the bad guy in Sofia, and double that from this kind of guy. So yeah, I mean, once those parts are repaired, assuming they're new and they're all put together again, there's no reason why it can't do the exact same amount of time, so another 2,500 kilometres, which would take me all the way to Iran. And then, of course, it's so cheap in those kinds of countries that I'd be able to pick up a bloody bike for literally next. I think I could get a repair for like £5. But yeah, what I'm thinking is I'm probably just going to order the parts on Amazon and then just pay for the labour to have someone fit them, which shouldn't be more than a tenner. That's what I'm thinking. Because also you become quite attached to the bikes as well and stuff like that, and yeah. So that's the gist of what's happening. Really like this little provincial town. I can't remember the name of it. It's near Plovdiv. It's called like Panz something or other, Panz. It's a really long-winded word, but yeah, it's nice, my kind of place. Like I always like towns that maybe like a couple of 100,000, lots going on, but not too big, not too small. So I'll leave it there for now. I'm going to keep updates coming along. I'm here for another like 4 or 5 days, and then the real kind of stuff begins. I've also decided, I've basically finalised my plans. I won't mention what my total route is on this video. I don't want people to know, to be honest. But I will be 100% going to Syria and Iraqi Kurdistan now. Not Iraq whole, but Iraqi Kurdistan. So and Iran, I've decided. But I've just got to work out like which way to do that because of the practicalities. So the problem is if you go to Iraqi Kurdistan, you're in the middle. So single entry is 75. I don't want to spend too much. So if I go there and then go into Syria, that's 140. And then I don't want to go into Syria proper. I want to go into the Christian part in the north, which is safer and just it's en route. So logically, I would go down through Turkey, Cappadocia, of course. Follow that line essentially down to Syria, and it's just en route to Iraqi Kurdistan, and then I would get the visa in Erbil, or I could get it in Istanbul, but I think it's going to be super busy in Istanbul. Ankara is also a possibility, yeah, and then on to Iran, and then I fly back from Iran to Turkey. So I would leave the bike in Ankara. Sorry, that's what I'm saying. So I've not communicated that properly. It's just not practical to take the bike on this route, so I'll be taking the bike on another route, but I'll be leaving the bike in Ankara, and then I will be flying to a Turkish provincial town near the border, or just take land transport, cross through that little Syrian pinch in the north, which is problematic in itself anyway, because actually the borders in the north are not open with Turkey. It's much more on the central frontier, and it's off from where I want to go, and it's also in an area which isn't as safe. So the aim is, to go through the northern pinch of Syria into Iraqi Kurdistan, which is totally safe and fine, easy, visa on arrival, same with Syria, 140, 75, visa on arrival, Iraqi Kurdistan. Then either I have the Iranian visa or I'll be getting it in Erbil. The process for the Iranian visa isn't as complicated as people think. It's not difficult to get an Iranian visa. It's just the time it takes and the amount of money you have to spend. Like the base minimum quotes now are 303 euros, which is a very strange price. The Masonic 33, of course. We won't go into that, but that is the base price for British citizens to go in. You need the visa fee from the tour agency, which is 100 euros. Then it's 180 euros from the Iranian embassy. It's all a total scam, by the way. Literally, you're paying an agency to go to the Iranian ministry to give you a code to then give to the embassy, which is a part of the ministry anyway. So yeah, it's just a complete scam. And then you have to pay 23 for health insurance. So it's 303 total just to enter the country as a tourist. But yeah, I'll probably be doing that anyway. And from that, it's more practical anyway, because realistically, I can't cycle around Iran in 47-degree heat. And I can't cycle around Iran if it's not hot anyway, because it's just too big. And you only get 30 to 45 days. I'm clarifying whether it is 45 at the moment with the London embassy. I think it might be 30, who knows, we're going to find out. Either way, whether it's 30 or 45, the country is so vast, I just wouldn't be able to see anything. And from what I've heard, people's hospitality is so great, you're stopping all the way. So it's just better to utilise trains and public transport, and then hop back on the bike in Turkey. So that's the game plan. And then from Turkey I'll be continuing on a different route. So yeah, that's what's going on. It's been a really productive week. I wanted to kind of like get to a little place and have time to do all my computer stuff, which I'm doing really well. And great news this morning, but that's another thing now I have to plot what I'm going to do with that new finance, the degree I want to enroll in. I mean, get back on that road. after being screwed over by a discriminatory body of absolute political puppets at Portsmouth University, absolute scum haven of an institution. So there we go, I'll leave it there. Cool.